Hey everyone, Rhea here. Today we are going to be talking about something near and dear to my heart. Taking Pokemon TCG lessons. Are they worth it? Are they right for you? Watch this video to find out. For those of you that don't want to watch an entire YouTube video, I'm going to cut right to the chase and say that, in my opinion, investing in Pokemon TCG lessons or coaching is 100% worth it, or at least it has been for me. So I've been taking lessons with Pablo Meza, aka Tablemon, for I think about 6 months now. I didn't really look to see how long I've been doing it, but I think it's been at least 5 months. Pablo, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But the experience I've had over that time has been very positive, and I've seen measurable improvements in my Pokemon play. I do want to, though, give you all some advice, some things to consider if you're thinking about taking Pokemon lessons, and maybe some things I wish people had told me before I started taking lessons. Piece of advice number one is to make sure that you have defined goals. When I first started taking lessons with Pablo, the first thing he asked me was, "What do you want to get better at? Like, how can I help you?" And I think, like a lot of people that first start taking lessons, I didn't have a really good answer, and my main motivation was that I wanted to win more. Some examples of defined goals that you can set for yourself are learning how to improve your sequencing, like what actions should you do before actions? Should I trade before I N? Should I Guzma before I Abyssal Hand? Is that one extra card worth it? Stuff like that. So before you consider lessons, you should evaluate your own gameplay and see what it is exactly that you think you need improvement on. I also want to add to this that don't feel too pressured, because I still got a lot out of coaching. I still do. I get a lot out of coaching, even though I came in with this mindset of, like, I don't even know what I need to improve on. Like, Pablo was super helpful in letting me know the things that I need to improve on. And still, in every lesson, now I come in with a better idea. Like, I've been building this deck, and I need to know how it does against this deck. What can I do in this situation? That type of stuff. But yeah, he was very helpful in helping me identify what I need to do to improve. There are other things about my Pokemon TCG play that I didn't really expect to get help with from lessons, but I really have gotten a lot of help from Pablo in. For example, I get a lot of anxiety going to big tournaments, and some of my lessons, like before a big tournament, we spend a lot of time talking about like what I can do to feel better prepared. Having an expert's opinion and input on things like that have definitely been worth it for me. Piece of advice number two is to do your research. You are a unique learner and a unique player that has a diverse set of skills and a diverse set of weaknesses that need improvement. So once you start thinking about what you need improvement on, it's definitely worth it to look at the people who are offering lessons or coaching and see if that person would be a good fit for you, just in terms of, like, can they help me reach my goals? I should add, don't just assume that, like, that someone can't help you. Always communicate with them. Like, it's 100% reasonable to message someone or email or call or whatever they want, and tell them what your goals are and see if they think their coaching would be appropriate for you. In my own experience, the reason why I chose Pablo to take lessons with was that he has a very conversational and friendly tone in his streams and YouTube videos. So, like I said, I suffer from sort of anxiety around Pokemon. Like, I kind of feel out of place sometimes. Like, I'm the only girl in the room a lot of the time, and my skill level was definitely not where I wanted it to be when I first started taking lessons. So I felt really intimidated reaching out to, like, a professional Pokemon player and being like, "Can you help me?" I don't, why am I losing all the time? So I was really comforted in the way Pablo communicated, like when I watched him in his videos. One of my weaknesses is that I think about luck way too much. Like when I don't get the card I need off trade, I'm like, I have the worst luck, everything's awful, no. And Pablo is someone who really thinks about numbers. He's always like, what's the probability that I get XYZ? What do I need to do to increase that probability? And then if he doesn't get it, he feels confident that he made the right choice and it was just a probabilities game. It wasn't his decision that made him not get what he needed to get to win or whatever. So I knew having a teacher like that would be really helpful for me to improve my mindset and for me to start thinking differently about the game in a way that would and will make me like a more functional player. My piece of advice number 3 is to give it time. When you first start taking lessons or when you first start doing anything that requires skill, you need to really invest time and energy into improving at that skill. You can't assume that paying for a lesson is going to like instantly increase your skill. And I'm sure most of you know that from like a rational standpoint, but I think a lot of people do tend to like take 2 or 3 lessons and then not feel like they've improved a lot and be discouraged by that. In my experience, it took a while for me to get measurably better because I had a lot to learn. It honestly takes a while. The important thing is that you stick to it and you have a consistent lesson schedule. I take lessons once a week, and that's really helpful for me because I see Pablo on a regular basis and we both are up to speed on what's going on with me and my playing and my tournament schedule and all this. Don't feel discouraged if you take one lesson and you're like, I don't think I really learned anything. Like, I just learned that I'm a bad player. Definitely keep at it. Maybe took about 2 months for me to see measurable differences. Like, I went from like scrubbing out of cups to almost making top 8 in or top 4 whatever in like a couple months. So just be patient and have fun. That's what it's really about. So if you have fun and you keep practicing and you keep taking your lessons, you will for sure get better. That brings me to my piece of advice number 4, which is to put in the work. Just because you're paying a professional to teach you doesn't mean you're going to get better. You really have to get like a schedule down for your practice and to make sure that you're reaching the goals that you want to reach. Ultimately, a teacher is there to facilitate your learning, but it's up to you to make sure that you do the learning and you go through the steps that you need to do. So what I do is and Pablo actually suggested that I do this, is to keep a game log, and I try to play 10 games a day. But yeah, you have to grind out games, and you can't just like grind the ladder mindlessly. You want to really think about what you're doing as you're doing it. My piece of advice number 5 is to remember to always be respectful of your teacher. I have a lot of experience in music. I was a music major in college, double major in biology, not relevant. But I remember a lot of times when students wouldn't show up for their lessons with teachers. And that really, really sucks. Like, please don't do that to your teacher. If they schedule you, that means they're not able to schedule someone else for that time. So just always be mindful of that. Like, just because you're paying someone doesn't mean that their time is disposable. And also on that note, you should always come to a lesson prepared. So if you commit to doing something, like sometimes Pablo will be like, I want you to play these 4 decks 30 times each this week, and let me know how you did against certain matchups. And when I get that kind of like assignment per se, like I always try to honor that assignment because I can't expect to get better if I don't follow their advice. So always be mindful and listen, and ultimately that will help you the most because you're going to get better, and that's what you wanted in the beginning. So that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or concerns about coaching or about how I learned about coaching or anything like that. Um, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye.